Yeah, yeah, yeah. So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge, they don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like, wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Oh, John Doe Blacko, you are petty. Hello, everyone. My name is Pam Esquire, also known as your law intellect. I hope you guys are having a fantabulous. What is today? Thursday. Today's just start, blending in. I hope you guys are having a great day. Again, I am here early because I had a hearing, and so why not come on live? So if you've been rocking with me, I've been on YouTube probably the last 3 years, I think, or going on 3 years, around up in there. But around the first year that I started YouTube, there was this man. He said he was a saved man. He said he was a man of God. And his name was Bishop Lamor Whitehead. And to get into all the details about Bishop Whitehead, you would have to go back probably 2 years because he's in prison now, but we'll get to that. You would have to get into some of those videos. So I'm just going to give a brief synopsis. You'll see people that have been rocking with me from day one. So they understand who Bishop Lamor Whitehead is. So how it all started was Bishop Lamor Whitehead was robbed at his church. Some people don't still believe that it really happened or not happened. However, there is 2 men right now in prison serving time, less than what Bishop Whitehead is doing right now, might I add, for this robbery. He was over there in New York. And what happened was he became a topic because of the robbery. So everyone started looking into his background. And we found out he was really Bishop Scam-a-Lot. Okay? So when you looked his name up, he was Lawsuit Gold. That was my channel. So I literally would have been able to talk about this man every single day. I mean, he was accused of stealing. Well, he was convicted of it. So we'll just say he's convicted of taking money from one of his parishioners or somebody who visited Miss Pauline Anderson. He also allegedly extorted Brandon Belmonte, who was in there. I don't know if he pled or not, but he caught another case too, but that's a whole nother story. And he stole a church. Literally, the man of God found a way to steal a church, went into this church and was hallelujah every Sunday. The man had taken the church from glory to God. And so I talked about him, and he never really said much about, he never said nothing about me, right? So what the problem was with me is because of the court documents, that's what we do over here. I would put the court documents on the platform and we would read them. And it would always be the total opposite of what this man was saying. He had a story and he had an explanation and a rationale for everything. We seen at one point he was married to somebody before and he had switched the deed. The man had done time before for scamming people. Okay. And then while he was in prison, he said, I'm going to come out and be a man of God. I'm going to be a bishop. Well, actually, I guess someone had ordained him as being a pastor or a minister or something before he went in. But he said he wanted to come out on the next level of the ministry. So he came out and he decided to do the church gig. He hooked up allegedly with Eric Adams. We still don't know what that was all about, because in the trial that I went to, Eric Adams was not really feeling him like that, was ignoring a lot of his texts. But nonetheless, he was seen in pictures with Eric Adams, which made the New York Post really be on his neck about everything he did. And that's how we saw all his mug shots, him just sitting there looking like, we saw all his mug shots, we saw everything. So he just has been running amok. He just was little leprechaun running amok for like a long time. And then came Pam. So he had recreated this whole image and life for himself. He had a Rolls Royce, he had $1 million home, and come to find out, he finessed his way into all of this. Meaning he was faking applications about his income, creating check stubs so that he can qualify for loans to get these luxurious properties and buildings and all of this stuff. And the man had $20 in his account. And I'm being really no. The indictment said he had less than $10. So I gave him 10 more dollars. All of this, he was faking the funk because he wanted to impress you guys on the internet. So you know me, I just go by the document. So when he was saying stuff, I was like, that's not true. And it was a nice handful of us that were talking about Bishop Lamor Whitehead. And one day, at this time, he was at his home, I think. One day I started getting a bunch of DMs. Girl, he going off on you. I'm like, what? He waited a good 6 months before I just got up under his skin, and he just couldn't take it no more. He started talking about I was a YouTube lawyer. I ain't real. I'm on YouTube just because I can't get clients. He said I was bald head. He started, when they ain't got nothing else to say. He was just so mad. He hated my guts because he was trying his best to come up with this new persona, but Pam was messing it up for him. The gig was up, bro. The gig was up. So he said, "Oh, I can't stand her." Then he was like, "Oh, bald headed, she's bald headed." You know when people get so mad, they just don't got nothing to say. They gonna call you ugly or they gonna call you bald headed. I'm glad he opted for number two because it ain't bad to be bald headed. It's a lot of cute people that's bald headed, so it's cool. But that's what he started calling me bald headed Pam. So then that became a big thing because I didn't care. I thought it was kind of funny, I was and I just kept talking about him. So then, y'all know your girl. I started pulling up to those hearings, and he was looking at me like, "Ooh, if I could fight your right now, I would two-piece you in your mouth." That's how he was looking at me every time he saw me. And I was like, "I'm just here to get the news. Bishop, Bishop, I'm here to get the news." So around that time, I met a young man who had a lawsuit. His name was Yves Andre. Yves Andre said he came on. He's the only person I think that I actually had come on and do an interview. And I really just go by the documents. But him, I had let him come on and do an interview because he was a pro se litigant. He said that he was finessed out of Whitehead. So what Yves Andre alleged is that at some point, because Mayor Adams was leaving being Brooklyn Borough president, he was going to run for mayor. Whitehead wanted to run for Brooklyn Borough president. Okay. He was doing anything to get attention. And so what he did, because he drove Maseratis and all of this stuff that he had stole. So what he did was he went, well, I'm gonna say allegedly stole. I don't know if I heard about the loans. I don't know, just whatever. Allegedly. So he pulls up in the hood in Brooklyn. Okay. Yeah, y'all make sure you hit that like button because it's, he pulls up in Brooklyn and it's a bunch of young men outside. So of course, because they're not used to the neighborhood he was in, they're not used to people coming in with luxury cars and all of that. They were enamored by it. So they went up to the cars and they're like, "Oh my God." And he got so friendly with them, it was all a ploy, right? But he tried to get all friendly with them because he was going to use them, I guess, to be his campaign workers for this dream he just made up to be Brooklyn Borough president. So of course, what happens is when you go into those type of neighborhoods or go into places, I should say, of which they're not used to people that have the appearance of money. And the fact that he said he was going to be Brooklyn Borough president, they never had anybody that they knew who was in politics or had those type of high positions. And you got this man, he's rich according to what they thought, and he also was going into politics. And so he basically almost promised them, listen, you rock with your boy Whitehead, I'm going to make sure you got access to what I got access to. So Eve's Andre at that time, he had a girlfriend. I think they had started out a smoothie shop. They had just started one. So they had a little, trying to get the business going. So what Whitehead would do was, so Eve's Andre worked for him. So according to Eve's Andre, what Whitehead would do is say, yo, why don't you go out? He literally went to the homeless shelters and he pulled people out of the homeless shelters to work, and they paid them, they were supposed to pay them a certain amount a day because you in a homeless shelter. You getting these couple of dollars to distribute some flyers and all of that. So what happened is Bishop Whitehead would be almost incognito, like he wasn't going to be available. So he would say, yo, just use your money and pay for these people. So, of course, because Eve's Andre was the one that was bringing them in, he was like, well, let me make sure they get paid. So he started spending his money. He started spending money that was supposed to go towards him and his girlfriend's business. He was trying to keep up with stuff. So he would have texts to be like, yo, you need some more flyers. Just go down there and print them off and I'm going to pay you back. So he would always promise reimbursement. So basically, Eve's Andre continued with the bull. Okay, I think he even started going to his church or something. Went to his church a couple of times. So he was like falling for the okie doke. Okay, I'm gonna get this money. I'm doing this for my homeboy because he about to be Brooklyn Borough president, and I'm gonna get all my money back and some. So it's gonna be worth it. Whitehead lost. Shocker. He lost Brooklyn Borough president. He was like in last. If there was a negative place, he would have been in the negative place. Okay. I guess he was third because it was only 3 people. But based on them numbers, I think them votes might have been him and his wife. But anyway. So East Andre started seeing what was going on in these streets, especially how we was talking about Whitehead and like, but he's a whole finesser out here. So he filed a lawsuit and he did it pro se, and he basically wanted his money back, that it was a breach of contract because he said that he was going to pay him back, blah, 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 blah. So I had him on the platform. That literally is one of my first videos. Oh, sorry. That was literally one of my earlier videos where he came on there and he explained what I just explained to you. Probably not as animated and colorful, but yeah, he explained it. So he files this lawsuit and I saw it. So of course I reached out to him. That's how he ended up getting on the platform. This was a case of which Whitehead never paid much attention to because obviously East Andre didn't have that type of money. So he wasn't worried about it. So if he was on live and people asked him, what about the campaign worker? Because that's what they called them. He would dismiss it. Oh, he just a clout chaser. He trying to be connected to me. He would just wave it off. He literally would not even try to explain it. He would not try to just treated him like he's so insignificant. He's a peasant type thing. So Eve's Andre continued to go through with what he was, going ahead with this behind the scene. Like a lot of people, I knew what he was doing, but a lot of people, I think he kind of got lost in the sauce with the indictment and the robberies and the robbers and all these trials, the big trials in federal court. They forgot about him. So he files his lawsuit. He gets Brian Ponder to represent him once he's served. According to Eves Andre, he said, the conversation with him and Ponder, if you guys remember who he is, he ended up he ended up coming into the scene. And Brian Ponder, first he came on the scene on videos talking about, it was the Pauline Anderson case, and was kind of talking about, he wanted to help Pauline Anderson. Then all of a sudden he was Whitehead's lawyer. So Whitehead has so many lawsuits, and Whitehead was actually in the news like that. Although he was infamous, it wasn't because he was famous. And so he started representing him on all of this stuff. So one of the people he got on the case with Eves Andre as well. And so Eves Andre was like, I ain't never scared. So he still was going through with this lawsuit against Whitehead. So eventually, as you guys know who follow this, Ponder felt like withdrew from all of his cases. Just withdrew. They fell out. Allegedly, Whitehead, I guess, threatened him. He had the emails and stuff. And Whitehead just flipped out on him. Like how he crashed out on me on a Sunday morning when he was supposed to be talking about the Lord in the in his little service, in his little fake service. When he was supposed to be talking about the Lord, he crashed out on me. Apparently, he crashed out on Ponder. And Ponder had it on the email. So when he did his motion to withdraw for some cases in federal court, because he sued Tasha K too for defamation. It was just so many lawsuits if y'all wasn't around. So Ponder was out. So Eves Andre kept going on with it. So when I went to federal court, when Whitehead was indicted for all these different alleged schemes for the Anderson situation, taking her money. So with Anderson, for those that don't know, Pauline Anderson, she took out of her retirement money and she gave it to Whitehead to invest in property. And apparently he took the money and didn't get her no property. So she just basically was out of her money. So she ended up suing him, and that lawsuit kind of precipitated, kind of like the Diddy situation, ended up morphing into a criminal case. So she was on there, and her son were a part of this indictment. Also, he tried to take some money, I guess, allegedly, from try to extort Brandon Belmonte, allegedly. Whatever. He had about 5 counts, and he got convicted, I believe, on every single count. So when I started going to that federal trial, Eves Andre showed up. By this time, he had a judgment of default because they kept trying to get Whitehead to show up. But Whitehead felt like this guy was so insignificant, he did not pay this case any attention. Did not. So even, and how I know he felt that way, for real, is when I went to the trial. Eves Andre showed up one day, and that was the day if Really B was on here. She came there as well. Eves Andre came up there with his homeboy, and he was acting. I had to be like, bro, you got to calm down. You're in federal court with marshals, with snipers on buildings. I'm going to need you to relax. I know he done pissed you off. So, and actually, they almost tried to make him a part of trying to get a mistrial because he came with his judgment. Because how they do it in New York is you get a judgment of default, but then you got to come back and do what's called an inquest so you can prove what amount the person owes you. So it's not just like they default you and then they have an amount and that amount is entered. That's not how they do it. They do it where you get a default, then they schedule you another date, which is like 7 months from now. Because I don't know how New York courts move, but it can't be COVID because they do things like when he filed this lawsuit probably 3 years ago. And then they kept pushing it out. So I don't know if it's because he was representing himself or whatever it was. So he had the judgment, but didn't have the actual amount that Whitehead owed him. Dude came up to the court and was like, as soon as he came out on the break, he was like, "You see this? You see this? This is my judgment. Give me my money. Give me my money." He was like, "Give me my money. You owe me money, man. Ain't nobody scared of you. I don't care what goons you brought here. Ain't nobody scared of you." And I was coming out the bathroom, and it was some big guys. It was two big guys. Like, one thing he did do when he found out people was coming to court, like little old me, he would have some of his little homeboys, come up there or whatever. I'm an officer of the court. If you feel froggish, leap. That's how I was. I told you I got on the elevator with that man. I don't really care. If you feel froggy to put your hands on the officer of the court in the court, well, you just do what you do, sir. Then I had a husband sitting outside. So that was not going to work out for you. I was never by myself. Even if you saw me by myself, I was not by myself. So anyway, I come out the bathroom. Shoo, I'm like, what's going on? What's going on here? So I push Ease Andre to the side. I'm like, bro, relax. You in court. You're gonna go to jail. Do you hear me? You're going to go to be next to Whitehead over there if you don't sit down and calm down. But he was mad. He wanted his money. It's been 3 years. His girlfriend left him like, you idiot, you gave this fool all our money. He was going through. So I said, and I need you to relax because I need you to hear me out. What I have to say. Okay, you relax. He was like, all right, Pam, I'm cool. I said, you relaxed. You don't have a money judgment yet. I'ma need you to wait till you get your money judgment. Then you talk about how much he owe you right now. So he relaxed, him and his homeboy. So I get your frustration. Somebody take my money and finesse me. I'm gonna be pissed too. So we go back. I said, you think you can relax, sir? You think you're gonna be all right if we go in this courtroom? You gonna be okay? So we go in the courtroom. The judge said, they said, we're asking for a motion for mistrial. There was a guy who was out there, and we believe it was in front of the jurors, of which he tried to serve him papers, and that would be prejudicial to the jury. So the judge is sitting there like, jeez, I'm trying to get done with this case. That's how she was looking at her face. So then the jury had to come in, and they had to poll the jury on, did anybody hear this man say A, B, C, D, and E? And they were like, no, we don't. Like, they didn't say it, but they just asked, did they hear any commotion or whatever? No. So he was trying to get a mistrial at every angle that he could. It was another blogger that was in there that couldn't stand him, and she was there, and they was trying to have her out the courtroom. Like, they would try to kick us out the courtroom. They couldn't get me because I'm there about my business. But they was trying to get people who he had basically enticed or done things to online, and he's sitting up there at the defense table. He would be looking like this. He was sitting here. You know how people start looking to the side? He was doing this because we were right behind him in the gallery. He was like looking at us or whatever. And I made sure I sat in the front row so he could see me clearly. And so anyway, they had East Andre stand up, and the judge questioned him. Can you be quiet in this court hearing? It's like, yes. Can you behave? I said, yes. All right, you can stay. So he stayed that day. And yeah, but he continued his quest to get his money. So he would call me every now and then and tell me what was going on. So he ended up going to court, and he told him, well, the guy is incarcerated. By this time, Whitehead was guilty. He was found guilty, and he was in prison. He was already at his home for the next 8 to 9 years, which is crazy because the alleged robbers got 5 years for robbing him. And then this is what catapulted his his notoriety for real around past New York. Because he had a little bit of notoriety, I guess, in New York. He like was supposed to be Tekashi 6ix9ine's pastor or said something nice about him at his hearing or something. Because his attorney was the same one for Tekashi 6ix9ine. He had a little clip of 50 Cent, I guess, something with 50 Cent or whatnot. So he had a little, but I'm in, the East Coast ain't know nothing about that man. So that whole robbery thing is kind of what catapulted him where we knew who he was. So, and that's why it's crazy that, the people got 5 years and you got about 9, 8 or 9, whatever it was. So, anywho's, so East Andre said, Pam, they're going to have, because I told them at court that he was incarcerated, they said they want to give him an opportunity to talk. I said, they gonna do it on video? Shoot your girl the link. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they gonna do it on video? You think they let me on? So I still been nosy, even though, I ain't really talked about him. So he shoot the link on the day. And I'm thinking Whitehead about to show up because why not? That's what you do. You've been finessing and writing stuff and allegedly filing deeds and changing deeds and doing your own bankruptcies so you can stop judgments and all this legal eagle beagle stuff he been doing for decades. So I said, why wouldn't he come up there with his Malcolm X glasses on, with his little tan outfit, rolled up sleeves, with his notebook like, yes, Your Honor, Lamor Miller Whitehead. And the Miller part is a whole nother story too. Lolisa, where you at, girl? Lamor, but this is what I had in my mind. He was gonna be there like Lamor Miller Whitehead. Nope, he didn't. He ain't come. I said, well, damn, he not gonna come. Sorry, I'm still kind of working. Okay. So he said, so they pushed the date out again. I said, dang, New York, like, can we get this over with? So they said, so they pushed it out again. I said, we got 2 bites at the apple. I know this man gonna show up. So this was gonna be the money portion, I guess. I believe so. So they were like, okay, we'll give you another court date for the money portion. So the money portion hearing came up. So 2 days ago, I had to give all that background because some of y'all don't know who the heck this person is. Let me give y'all, y'all know I done played this 5,000 times. This is Whitehead, okay? This is him.
You's a clown, that's what you. Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? Huh? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not gonna call you that.
Huh? Look on Facebook Live. Call me a cardboard bishop now. You clown. That's what you are. You clown. That's what you are. Why don't you say what you say on Facebook Live, sucker?
No.
That is Bishop. You want to see another? And it was another case we was going over because he was losing. Somehow he was able to finesse a building in Connecticut. Again, I believe that was kind of a part of some, because they had a lot of instances they used that had nothing to do with the case. Like they had a whole lot of like showing the pattern of him and filling out applications and forging stuff and all this other stuff or whatever in federal court when he was being tried. And he had an apartment building in Connecticut. So this is the apartment building in Connecticut that we were filing this case too, because it was in foreclosure almost immediately after he got it. So it's like he got the building, And then they took it because, first of all, he hadn't paid any mortgage on it. It was jacked up, like it wasn't fixed up. So they were trying to get some type of trustee, I think, to try to get it up to par because it was like a hazard. It was like the Good Times projects, pretty much. And so we were on a lot of those court hearings as well. But this is the apartment building that he had over there in Connecticut.
You's a clown. That's what you. Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not gonna call you that.
Huh? Look on Facebook Live.
I like that video too much. That wasn't supposed to come up. Okay. Wait 1 minute. Let me see if I can find it. This is so long ago. See if I got something of the building.
In the rain, y'all. Slowing down the rain, but we working. We are working, y'all. Working. Stairs complete. Whitehead steaks, y'all. Coming all together.
So that was the building that he lost as well, and some stuff behind how he got that building. But anyways, so on the 24th, I get a text and it says, let me see, what does it say? It says, "Good afternoon, Pam. I won the bishop's case completely." I said, "What? What you get? What you get?" Let me show y'all what he got. I'm gonna read this because let me see if I could. I'm gonna have to make this bigger because I don't know. This judge was writing. I'm gonna have to read it off my phone because, honey. So it has on June 24th of 2025. Upon the holding on inquest and the reviewing of all documents. So he had to show in receipts, cash apps, Zales, however he paid these people, receipts from getting flyers, all of that. Submitted by Yves Andre, the court awards him in the amount of $56,000. Then it say from the accounting of Lamor Miller Whitehead. The court previously entered a default judgment. So what Yves Andre advised me, he said, I won the Bishop case completely. She also noted that I can get the funds to be collected out of his federal accounts. I said that is going to. I'm like, you talking about like commissary? His federal account, like where you get the magic shave, like the honey buns. I said that's jacked up. So anyway, I go on. This is what he said. The accountant men on here, because I'm like, what account he got? Because they would have been put liens on them joints. He got so many people. So then he says, heading to federal court to give them these documents, restitution petition letter to the federal court and the U.S. Attorney's Office. So apparently they told him what he needed to do to try to start collecting on all of his $56,000. The statement of judgment and interest calculation, proof of, so they going to get him interest too. Proof of the judgment, he had to request that from the Kings County Supreme. So whoever, they gave him straight step by step how you can get your money. Declaration in support. Declaration in support. You sneaking up on me like that? That was death. Declaration in support of restitution, detailing how you're a victim that's owed funds. And then they gave him an option, an optional, I guess, method. Request to the FBI and DOJ Asset Forfeiture Division to be recognized as a claimant. So the interesting part is, Whitehead has never paid Yves Andre a lick of attention. He literally looked at him like the little boy from the hood that he met that was geeked about his little Maserati or whatever he was driving at the time. And he didn't really address him. When he came to court, he was like, man, get this cat. What are he talking about? You know, I think it made Yves Andre even more pissed because it was like, even though you got $1 million, you know, a $500,000 car, $1 million house, I'm broke. And part of me being broke is because I took everything thinking that I can become close to somebody that's somebody. And it's going to benefit, almost like I invested to show you my loyalty so that I can, I guess, benefit in the future. And you just took my money. And apparently there were other people that never got paid. It was all type of little stuff that he had given me when I did that interview. And so Yves Andre took it all away. Up until 2 days, he's been fighting this where they kept pushing it out. Like they'll come and then be like, oh, well, the judge didn't put you on the docket. And come back, we're going to reschedule. And the reschedule will be a year. It wasn't no rescheduling 60 days later. It was rescheduling in a year. So literally you have cases up there, like with Gloria God the Church. You have cases that are lingering, that basically will linger up in the court in New York for, you know, he would come back. They didn't have it all together. He had everything he needed. And then they'll be like, oh, well, we want to give him a chance to show up. So we're going to push it out 6 months. Like, it was just crazy. So this man has fought the fight. And now Whitehead, who treated him like he was nothing, owes him $56,000. And if by chance he actually does somehow put some lien on that commissary, on that account, I'm coming back. I'll probably put it in the membership. I ain't gonna do another live on it. But I will probably put a screenshot of that in that membership. If this man says I was able to get $20 out of his account, it's going in the membership. It's breaking news. And I believe he would, because this is how diligent and like strong, like he just strong in what he felt. Like, no, bro, I've spent this money. I'm gonna get a judgment. Because I kept telling him, I was like, he ain't got no money. Like, why are you spending all this energy on this? And he just does not have anything. I don't understand what happened with that house. Apparently it did have equity. I know it went into foreclosure, but they didn't take and seize and put liens on things before then. And Anderson tried to do that. When she found out the house was going into foreclosure, we know he owed like $1 million or something on the house, but it was worth like $3 million. So they were trying to petition the court to try to put a lien on it. And I don't think that worked out like fast enough before he ended up getting convicted. Because once you, why is stuff coming in my bag? Because once you get convicted, all that stuff belongs to the government. So they get first dibs. And according to Pauline Anderson, she said she was pretty much told, we can't guarantee you gonna get anything. So some of these people still may not be compensated for what he had done. But yeah, he does have a civil judgment. So maybe he has a little bit more of rights. I will have to look into that to try to get any money that he has that goes into that prison. But yeah, that's Whitehead. Where is his wife? You get me? Are you sick? She was distancing herself before she never showed up to court. Linda said right after he went to prison, I checked her page and she had went back to her maiden name. So who knows? Now she went back to her maiden name before he went to prison. Bridget, thank you so much for the comment. She said, good morning, Pam, Dev, and Intellect. I'll be doing the replay shuffle with my coffee this morning. Hope my laughter doesn't choke me. We just had to go back down memory lane right quick when I got that information. Because I asked in the membership, I'm like, do y'all really care about Whitehead like that? It's been so long. And a lot of like literally, I might have had less than 1,000 subscribers when I was talking about that cat. Like he was literally that early on. So when you almost at 40,000, thank y'all. Keep them subscribers going. Then everybody comes for different reasons. So you have some people that were for the Ernesto shenanigans, and you have some people that have come for the Diddy. Like different cases I do is what brings certain people for that specific topic. And so because that was so long ago, a lot of people don't even remember this guy. But it's enough for you guys still rocking with your girl 3 years later that know who he is. So there's that. Terry B said you definitely have to be persistent in court cases without an attorney. Yeah, I never knew that because obviously I am one. So and I don't think we move that slow in Michigan. So I just never seen it. A year later, like for instance, yesterday I had a hearing. I needed it to be pushed out so I can get some more information on a witness or something. And she moved it to July 10th. Like that's what I'm used to. I'm used to, well, how long do you need, counsel? You need 2 weeks, you need 30 days. Like I want to extend dates. Okay, counsel, do you need 60 days for that? How long do you need to get a facilitator and to set it up? 90 days. Like that's what I'm used to. So to go into court and see them say, you come in December, but we don't have another court date till February 2026 or something, is like nuts to me. So I'm just not used to that. Hey, Paula Keys, thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the channel. Uncle Mario GA, is that Mario GA? Said 2 years rocking with you. Great content. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support and the love. Make sure you hit that like button. So for those of you that don't know, he added Miller. His name is Lamor Whitehead. He added Miller because he decided, I guess, or his mom told him, I don't know where he got it. I believe his mom told him that his dad was Arthur Miller, who was a civil rights advocate who was beaten and unalived by the police. So he was like the first George Floyd, I think, like the get your knee out my neck type situation back in the 70s. So he was only like 6 weeks old. Sometimes the age changes a little bit here and there for him, but he was like 6 weeks old when he died. And so I guess he was told that was his father. So because of the notoriety of him and his contribution to civil rights, he wanted to connect himself. So he just added Miller onto his name. And so the story goes, according to Lolisa, who is a friend of the channel and is on here a lot, supports the channel. She's actually the baby of Arthur Miller. She's the baby in the family. And so according to her, one day when Lamar got out of prison the first time, so he got out of prison and he went in like 2007 or 8 or something. and got out like 6 years later. He was supposed to do like 20 something years then, but he ended up getting out on some type of technicality, some issue that I think the judge did. So he got out of like 7 years. So he gets out, and I guess he heard that the Miller family got money. So according to Lolisa, basically called Lolisa, according to her, and said, "Yo, I heard y'all got money. I'm gonna need to get a piece of that." So according to her, they offered him to go fly down there. I think he wanted to buy like a Toyota Corolla. Like he was just trying to, get around. He wasn't trying to drive the Maseratis and stuff then. He was just trying to figure out how he can get out of prison and come back and, come back strong. Find what his next scheme was gonna be, how he was gonna get the people. So she asked, because you don't know what your parents did or didn't do. So she asked for him to, I guess, to go to Florida, or offer to fly to Florida to get a DNA test, and he didn't do it. So according to her. So all these years he's just been basically saying, so when the family started coming out, he would just say, they just don't accept me as their brother. It's fine. They never have. And he's just claimed him. Like he's just claimed him as his father, because it's a good look to say your father died in the fight. He got pulled over, I think, with his brother or somebody, and then ended up being unalive by the police. So, yeah. So that's the brief story on his daddy. So people will say he stole his daddy too, but Thank you, Thessie Jewel. She said, we are all here because you're the bomb. I appreciate the kind words. Gas me up now. Petty Patty, been a member for 16 months. Thank you so much for the support. You said he called for his 40 acres and a mule. So for those of you that do not know, today they will be starting, if they have not done so already, I think they're supposed to start at 10 o'clock, the closing arguments for Sean Diddy Combs. So the way it's going to go, according to my understanding, is that the government is going to do 2 hours this morning. So they're supposed to start at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard, stop at 12, have lunch, come back and do 2 more hours. On Friday morning, that's when Agnifilo is going to do the closing. I believe he said he's going to do 3 hours. And then the government has, I think, an hour rebuttal, because they get the last word. Because it's basically they're going to go over everything the defense said and try to, get whatever they can to unravel it in an hour. So they get the last word because it's their burden of proof. And then the jury will get the charging instructions. I was kind of following that yesterday with the charging instructions. And people were like, I don't get, bloggers were leaving. They was like, it's nothing real exciting to report, but it's a part of the process. So you argue about language, you take out certain words that you think might confuse the jury, or may make the jury think one way when they should be thinking another way. The defense tries to simplify it more so, I think, because if it's simplified, being 1 or 2 sentences, then they can say, oh, that don't fit. The government is trying to do exceptions almost to stuff. So like we went over yesterday or the day before, whenever it was, yesterday, where they submitted that letter that made everybody in a frenzy because they thought they dropped these charges, and people was like, Diddy better sue and all of that, because they didn't know what they were talking about. And where you basically they're trying to seek clarification. That's what they're saying it is. We're going to clarify. Just because you consent one time doesn't mean that you consented the whole time and can't be trafficked. I mean, that's kind of obvious stuff. To me, it sounds like they're trying to do more commentary. Like jury instructions have commentary, but you're not supposed to do it. Commentary in the jury instructions explains to you what case law they got that jury instruction from, or where that's legal according to the law at that time. But they were trying to add a lot of commentary, which in my opinion, to me, seems like they are concerned, and probably based on how people on the internet feel like this was a bunch of bull crap just to ruin his reputation. And I think the consensus is way higher than what was expected by the government. You got some people You'll see it don't matter what comes out that favors Diddy. They're still going to find a way to spend it and spin it and say that it's not good. That's why I said it's good to do both sides and just be fair with it. At the end of the day, we don't know what the jury's thinking. We don't know if the jury's thinking about you, thinking like Linda, thinking like Lisa, thinking like the woman he chose. We just don't know that. You never know what a jury is thinking. And so you have different people with different life experiences, different backgrounds, different professions that think differently. Like for me, I do wrongful convictions, so I know my thought process more is I want you to make sure you give the person the due process they deserve, because if you do not, you can actually end up convicting someone who didn't do it. So I don't just automatically lean towards guilty until proven innocent, even though that's not our standard anyway, but a lot of people do. Like they really look at you like, oh, that's horrible. You did everything, whatever. So for me, I don't do that because of my life experience of how that has affected a lot of people's lives that they can never get 20 and 30 years back. So yeah. Um we don't know what it's going to be. So people that get out and get definitive, I'm just like, what? And I've said it from day one, and now that the case is closed, I still feel the same way. The case has not swayed me one bit. I feel like the first two counts just were not, they haven't put them together. That's just how I feel. I don't feel like the racketeering conspiracy, and I don't feel like the trafficking. I just don't. When it comes to the prostitution, I think that's more of their strongest claim. And again, the defense is arguing that it wasn't that because they weren't paying them for X, they was paying them for the non-disclosure. And if the jury believes it, then hey, he may beat that. But I feel like the most clear cut would be you pay somebody to have X. So I think that's the most clear cut. And unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but after looking through and listening through and watching throughout this last 6-7 weeks, my stance, the government hasn't been able to sway me on my stance. But yeah, nope, not by paper. It was supposed to be last night, Ty. I was looking at it too. Let me look real quick before I get off of here and see if we got any new information. Government, shoot, the judge gonna have to do something quick because they'll probably get the case on Monday. The jury. Let's start deliberating on Monday. So nope, still nothing. So yeah, so I'm gonna get up out of here. I hope you guys enjoyed the live. Let me know by clicking the like, or even if you watch the replay, you can go ahead and comment, and I'll probably go back through later. Paul said, Pam, if you happen to fail as an attorney, which will never happen, please consider going into acting or a comedian. I don't know if I could do stuff like that on the spot. This is really my personality. So I don't know if I could if I intentionally try to I'm going to the improv. Let me write. I don't know if that can happen because this is literally just me being myself. So I don't know if that'll work, but I thank you guys that you like my personality. I appreciate it. Makes me feel good. So anyway, I'm out of here. We'll be back if something happens. I hope you guys enjoy.
You's a clown. That's what you. Why don't you call me a cardboard bishop now? You tough? Call me a cardboard bishop now.
He's not gonna call you that.
Huh?
I'm not gonna
Look on Facebook Live. Call me a cardboard bishop now. You clown. That's what you are. You clown. That's what you are. Why don't you say what you say on Facebook Live, sucker?
No.
Got it?
Gonna say, because that's what was happening in that video. For those that don't know, he was actually getting an eviction out of another church, from my understanding. He was getting evicted, and so he was like, what is this? So that was the clip of the entire, I have the entire video. It's a little bit longer than this, but that used the clown just is so funny to me when he was going off like that. So that's why I use it. But yeah, hopefully, may the honey buns and magic shade be with you. Hopefully you'll be able to, withstand potentially a limitation in your snacks. I don't know. You know, you reap what you sow, and it just seems like he's still over there reaping, and East Andre said, "Give me my money." That's what he said. So we'll see where this goes. We'll see what happens with East Andre, and I've been in contact with him. I was actually gonna have him on, but I figured I'll just do a quick live, and I'm gonna get back to work. So you guys have a great day, and I'm gonna holler at you guys later.